How shocked are you by this latest case?
Well, of course, all these cases are appalling and unbelievable. The problem is that the public have no idea it's happening down their street or their neighbours.
And you think it is? You think it's that widespread?
I reckon there's a slave within a mile of everyone's home in Britain.
That is shocking. Because obviously most people in this country, I think, when they think about slavery, they think of human trafficking from foreign countries. But in this case, that's not the case. This was a British man and a British family.
Slavery is hidden. Unlike 200 years ago, you could see it everywhere because slavery was lawful. It's now illegal and it's hidden. It's underground. And whether it's sex slaves, domestic slaves who are helping in the home, whether it's children who are slaves, or in this case a man who is a slave, slavery is everywhere in Britain and needs to be tackled. And that's why I'm delighted the government, and the Prime Minister included, are committed to doing something about this, and it's long overdue. And in the Queen's speech in May, there's going to be a new slavery bill, the first since, well, 209 years ago. So when you think of slavery, think of it existing in your street. Boys are trafficked as victims of modern crime on the streets. There is cannabis farms in every town in the country. I don't know if you know, there's nearly 7,000 cannabis farms, most of which have boys hidden in them. So this case is appalling, and it's good that the judge said what he did, but the more important thing is he should have had a confiscation order. All of the assets of that family should have been confiscated and shared with both the police for finding this and the victim. And that's what I'd like to see much more of.
Do you think there are enough resources to help tackle this kind of problem if it is as prevalent as you say it is?
There is enough. It's got to move up the political agenda. The majority of people in this country, including the judges and yourself, and until recently myself, have no idea of the extent of modern-day slavery. And they cannot believe it exists in their streets, in where they live, or round the corner from their home. And that's what the problem is. It's making people more aware that it's widespread and everywhere. And it doesn't have to be foreigners. It can be English people.
Absolutely, it can be English people. But is it the more vulnerable people in our society that are being targeted?
The slaves are more vulnerable. The traffickers may come from overseas, but many of them are British. The problem about the vulnerability of victims is, A, we don't recognise it, but the traffickers do. They circle areas like soup kitchens, like children's homes. They befriend the most vulnerable, and then they seize them, and they become dependent upon their traffickers. In this case, they became a victim of and a slave to an English person who abused them.
And what kind of effect will this had on this poor young man?
If it's been going on for long, it can have a long-term effect for life. If it's short-term, they can recover. But I can tell you the number of victims I know about who never recover is deeply disturbing.